Hello, I'm Carl and welcome to The WordSmith. Today we turn our thoughtful gaze towards Vincent's tale, Self-Portrait by Wren. If you are new here, please do consider subscribing to the channel, like the videos, and share with all your fellow lovers of song and lyrics. Please do invite them to be a part of this ever-growing community. If you end up finding value, comfort, or quiet insight into this exploration, I warmly invite you to support the channel. There are many ways in which you can do so, whether through PayPal, Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, Super Thanks, or by becoming a YouTube channel member. Your support helps sustain this space. All relevant links can be found in the description below. And a massive thank you to everyone on screen who has contributed generously thus far in the life of this channel. A massive thank you to you all. All right, without further ado, let's dive straight into it, shall we? Okay, Vincent's tale, Self-Portrait. I have gotten so many comments about this series. Tales. So let's keep it going. Right, so this is exactly where we left off. This sounds like a 40s, 50s type of song. Again, yeah, brothers drinking probably a shot of tequila. Looks a bit worse for wear. Oh, he's completely arsehole. Okay, so continuing from where we left off. Bit of guitar work. Nice plucking technique. You can tell by how clean it is. Where is this? Oh. Yeah, you're not doing too well, are you, lad? Oh, it's the Vincent van Gogh looking dude. Okay, okay. Alright, easy, lad. Already there's quite a bit happening, so let me just... Okay. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Let's just uncover a little bit before we get into the actual song itself. I absolutely love the way Self-Portrait resumes its narrative breadth from when we last exhaled, and we actually find Wren marooned in a bar, visibly worse for wear. He looks completely arseholed. And it's not caricatured drunkenness, but the weary intoxication of a soul attempting to numb its own echoes. And we can build that from the context of the previous video. And into this haze wanders a busker lying on the ground, guitar in hand, and almost incidental figure who nevertheless becomes the catalyst for what follows. He looks like Vincent van Gogh. I did pick that up. I didn't mention it in the last video. And then Wren takes the instrument from him, and the moment trembles with sort of delicious uncertainty, because here I am wondering, is this the prelude to rap, to a bit of singing, to some hybrid confessional that's yet untamed? I don't know. And for me, that not knowing is crucial because Wren thrives in liminal spaces, between genres, between sobriety and surrender, and even between observer and participant. And in that single seemingly casual gesture, the stage is set not merely for performance, but for revelation yet to unfold. Okay, let us continue. It is a frighteningly hot day here in Joburg. 32 degrees at the moment. Okay, yeah. Good timing signature.
Come on, let's have it, you miserable prick. I will do what I want. I will drink till I'm sick to my stomach. I'm sick of the same boring songs.
So,
I am sick
is he singing
of
as
these
Vincent?
pavements I find myself on. Great Britain, I hate you all. Say that with pride. It's my right to be violent when you fed me lies.
Interesting, okay.
I'm a rotter, a menace when I want to be. And I've worked for that right because nothing comes free. I have slaved all my life in a dull 9 to 5. I just rinse and repeat while I'm barely alive.
Okay. So, again, it's the transition of personal affliction to sort of societal indictment. This isn't the first time Ren has done that with his lyrics, so a lot to uncover, a lot to unfold. Let's dive into it. Okay, so that opening verse, we are met not with subtlety, but with combustion. You know, Ren arrives roaring with accumulated fury of a working class everyman ground down by routine, deception, and the quiet cruelty of a society that promised much and delivered little. Been there. And this is lyrical rage with purpose. A man rejecting restraint not out of hedonism but defiance, embracing self-destruction as the last available form of agency, to drink until he is sick, to do as he pleases, because the alternative is the spiritual suffocation of a life slaved to rinse and repeat labor, where existence becomes survival rather than living. Again, I'm astonished by his songwriting. It drips with existential nausea, the monotony of the same pavements, the same songs, the same cultural cul-de-sac. And that's, for him, all symbols of a Britain that feels static, anesthetized, and creatively bankrupt. Yet, this is not merely personal despair, because it curdles into societal indictment. Great Britain is named and shamed as a purveyor of lies, a system that manufactures violence while pretending innocence. And that teaches rage and then recoils from it. So Ren's self-labeling as a rotter, as a menace, is not an admission of guilt but a bitter reclamation. If hardship has forged him thus, then so be it. For nothing, as he reminds us with venomous clarity, ever came free. Okay, I feel like this is going to be a long video. Let's keep it going.
I just rinse and repeat while I'm barely alive. Great Britain, I loathe you with murderous glee. I will do to this country what you've done to me.
Okay.
Destroy.
Interesting.
I want to tear apart these buildings from the cinder blocks they stand. Leave this town in dust and rubble. Make some trouble with my hands. I won't lie, I'm fucking wasted.
Yes, you are.
But I wasted all my youth, and I've stayed so damn complacent. Getting wasted is my truth. So my style of self-expression is a fist into the gut. It's throwing up upon these pavements. Shut your fucking mouth, you slut. Banished angel, I am Lucifer. My brain like Genghis Khan. Soon you will all know my name. I am the storm after the calm. I'm the victim of the victim list. The pill that makes you sick. I am chaos incarnate. Let's fucking have it then, you prick.
Okay. Right, that is the most British thing you can say. Let's fucking have it then, you prick. Yeah, it's just, no. I have heard that a few times. Not said at me, but no. Okay, lyrics. Let's dive in. Okay, so we're progressing through the song, and in this section, what I'm noticing, dear viewers, is Ren allows Vincent's fury to swell from grievance into grand, almost operatic declaration, where retaliation is imagined not merely as anger, but as symmetry, an eye for an eye reckoning with a nation that has, in Vincent's mind, hollowed him out. When he vows to do Britain what Britain has done to him, that is not a literal manifesto, but a psychological mirroring. Think of it this way. Institutional erosion reflecting back as personal apocalypse. At least that's one way I interpret it. And the fantasy of razing buildings and grinding the town into dust speaks less of physical destruction than a primal yearning to dismantle the concrete symbols of oppression. So very profound, very meaningful songwriting here from Ren again. And also to unmake the architecture of suffocation itself. And threaded through this is a devastating confession of squandered youth. We heard that through the bar earlier, where intoxication becomes both anesthetic and truth, wasted not simply in drink, but in lost possibility, paralyzed by complacency masquerading as survival. And again here, violence is reframed as expression. The body becomes language. Degradation becomes protest, and politeness is rejected as yet another lie. So this escalation crests in a feverish self-mythologizing where Vincent crowns himself like a fallen angel, conqueror, storm, and apocalyptic anti-hero forged by neglect rather than destiny. And yet, beneath the bombast lies a chilling paradox. He is both victim and consequence, the sickness produced by a system that insists it has harmed no one. Think of it this way. The declaration, I am chaos incarnate, is therefore not triumph but surrender, a howl flung at authority, daring the world to acknowledge the monster it helped to make. Okay, let's keep it going once more. The storytelling in his music is second to none. It's brilliant. Okay.
Let's fucking have it then, you prick! Now the rules of the street fight are simple.
Oh,
It's pretty much anything goes.
change of tempo.
Keep in the street pretty firm on your feet.
Change of key as
Pays
well.
to be sweet on your toes. And fools they have fallen for clumsy mistakes. Late to react,
I do hope
cop
he
the
sings.
fist to the face. Now the rules of the street fight are simple. Break that little prick's nose.
Okay.
Throw a punch, you swallow it, follow it, grab the collar, quick hollow tip like karate, kick martial art master spark.
Nice rhythmic cadence.
It's on the landing strip carnage, it finds the cartilage, karma serve like a carbonated cola on the crucifix kill.
Oh.
Vincent wanna kill, who blood gets spilled, move double that rude boy, kill or be killed.
Wow.
Do it for the fun, blood, do
I
it
love
for
the whole
thrill.
camera angle.
Blue lights, boy, run, blue lights, boy, chill.
Okay. Love the perspective of the camera. I mean, it's quite dark. But again, brilliant storytelling. So he's on the run. Okay. Just visually a lot going on. Visually, there's a lot going on. Lyrically, there's even more going on. Yeah, this is going to be a long video. Okay, so at this point of the song, dear viewers, the piece plunges into a deliberately unsettling register where Ren adopts the rhetoric of the street fight, not as a manual for violence, but as a bleak anthropology of survival at society's edges. So the so-called rules are exposed as the absence of rules altogether, a savage inversion of regulated sport that reveals how quickly civility evaporates when life is reduced to instinct. So boxing idioms are used and grime cadence intertwined to evoke balance, timing, and reaction, not as techniques to be admired, but as symbols of a Darwinian pecking order in which hesitation is punished and dominance asserted with humiliating bluntness. Also, there's a repetition here which strips aggression to its ugliest essence. While the breathless sequencing of attacks mimics chaos itself, and you could look at that as it being relentless, disorientating, and morally vacant. But here, Ren's language revels in grotesque poetry, twisting ideas of karma and justice into sacrilege, where pain is framed as fate and consequence becomes parody. So, beneath the bravado, however the bloodlust is exposed as hollow momentum, There is a cycle that demands victims simply to justify its own existence. Even the thrill, the rush, the slang, the flashing blue lights, it all carries a bitter aftertaste, and it's suggesting not glamour, but adrenaline addiction. A life lived permanently on the brink, where running or freezing are the only remaining choices in a world that has long since abandoned grace. Okay, let's keep it going. This is... Yep, long video. Where is this? Did he film this in Brighton? Okay, so after self-portrait is what? Starry Night? Okay, another tempo change. Oh, beautiful guitar work. Again by Ren.
So it goes.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
absence of the light, the devil's soul, a seed in either mind. Vincent was shaken, run from the law, hide from the bacon, crouch on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
The cut to omit him, hate the world spits on him, rapes him, hits him, kicks him when he's down, and that shapes him. He hears the sound of a copper, hot upon his tail proper, Vincent off his rocker. Bothered by the lie that Britain sold him, what a shocker. Where greedy eat the poor, a holy war, the chosen prosper. But some were never
Holy war,
chosen, they stay
prosper.
frozen in the locker. Destined to survive in 9 to 5 and watch the clock, but don't think about
Okay.
reality, my little happy shopper. A brand new show on Netflix to distract you from the horror, and swallow all your morals for a retweet or a follow, and shadow ban the problem man, a sold for $1, and keep the fight amongst yourself, don't think about the squalor. The systems don't impose it, or the rules that we all honor. And fuck it, Vincent cooked a boiling point, he's cannon fodder. So what's the use in
I see.
running? He's already in the locker. He's careless with his actions now, a clumsy motherfucker. He turned to face his fate, cause fate's a bitch, and none will stop her.
Oh, that's a bar, that's a bar, that's a bar. So the narrative here darkens and it deepens as Ren allows Vincent's fury to ferment into something colder as he conveys it. It's more fatalistic, suggesting that in the absence of light, of hope, purpose, or social care, darker instincts take root in idle, abandoned minds. So Vincent is no longer merely enraged, he is hunted, crouched, and breathless, slipping into the jittery paranoia of the fugitive, where the law becomes not protection, but predator. And society itself is personified as a brutal abuser, a world that does not merely neglect him, but actively violates and degrades him. And it's forging radicalization through relentless humiliation. It's quite deep, actually, but it expands into a scathing critique of class welfare as well, where capitalism is framed as a sanctified feeding frenzy, a holy war in which the chaos ascend while others remain locked in place, frozen in economic purgatory. So Ren's satire sharpens as he skewers consumer distraction and digital anesthesia, exposing how wage slavery is sweetened with streaming platforms and shopping baskets, while moral integrity is traded for metrics, algorithms, and silence. And the result of all of that is engineered division. The poor encouraged to fight one another while the system that impoverished them remains untouched. And I'm grabbing a lot of things here, but by the time Vincent reaches boiling point, he is portrayed as expendable, cannon fodder in a machine that consumes its own casualties. And finally, or rather the final turn toward fate is not courage, but resignation. A weary acceptance that in this world, destiny is merciless, unstoppable, and utterly indifferent to who survives its path. Okay. It's kind of hard to say this is the best one of the tales thus far, because I know probably the next one I'll say that too. And for the rest of the tales that follow, because the man keeps improving. Okay, but let's finish off.
He turned to face his fate, cause fate's a bitch and none will stop her. Richard was an officer who stood at 6'3". Was his first day back at work after a time of absent leave. Working London on the night shift, what he didn't think he'd see was a boy with a guitar, bruised and battered on his knees. But Richard lived in caution now, tormented by his past. Not so quick to find the trigger, not so fast. But Richard was a righteous man who lived inside the law. So he leapt upon poor Vincent and he cuffed him to the floor.
I see. Okay. Oh, I see. So, I'm curious about the order then. Because there is... the vibes are crazy. Alright, Richard's Tale coming soon. So, but there is another Vincent's Tale, right? Starry Night. So how does the order then work? Let me know in the comment section. And please do like, comment, and subscribe. But anyway, this is so brilliant. Let's have some final thoughts. That was bloody brilliant from Ren once again. So in these closing moments, Ren executes a devastating term of symmetry, shifting our gaze from the chaos of rebellion to the weary machinery of order, embodied in the figure of Officer Richard. And I believe Richard's tale is something that has been circling. He enters the scene almost mythically, tall, imposing, the silhouette of authority itself, yet immediately undercut by absence, fatigue, and the suggestion of unseen wounds carried back into a rain-slick London night. What he encounters then is not the storm Vincent once proclaimed himself to be, but a diminished echo of it, a bruised, broken figure on his knees, a guitar cradled like a final confession, the street fighter reduced to an artist caught mid-collapse. And crucially, Richard is not rendered as a brute. He is cautious, haunted, restrained by memories that have swallowed his own hand and dulled any appetite for violence. He's human. But this hesitation humanizes him, revealing the cost exacted on those tasked with enforcing order in a broken system. But yet, for all that inner conflict, duty prevails. Richard lives inside the law, and he's proclaimed as a righteous man, quiet, procedural, inexorable, and that seals his fate. The cuffs close, not with malice, but with inevitability, and the phrase, "Poor Vincent," lands like a soft, cruel epitaph. And in these final images, Ren completes the self-portrait. Chaos subdued, not by understanding or healing, but by compliance, leaving us with a sobering meditation on how rebellion ends, not in glory, but on the cold pavement, restrained by a system that neither fully condemns nor truly saves. And so we arrive at the close of our time together. This has been something truly special, having wandered, I hope, a little deeper into the narrative soul of Vincent's Tale, Self-Portrait by Ren, and perhaps into our own reflections as well, because this was special. I had so much fun deep diving into this. If you found value, comfort, or quiet insight in this exploration, I warmly invite you to support Carl The WordSmith, the YouTube channel, whether through Patreon, PayPal, Super Thanks, or by becoming a YouTube channel member. Your support truly does mean the world to me. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, please do like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Cheers.